Hello, welcome back. In today's session, we are going to establish connection between Java application and MySQL database. In the previous session, we created library database. Today, we want to establish connection between Java application and library database. Okay, for this project, we will use NetBeans IDE. Let's open NetBeans IDE. Here, we have library management system. Let's expand it. And here we have source packages. Here we have different sub-packages like custom controls, forms, images, library management system. To connect Java application with MySQL database, we need to import or include JDBC MySQL driver. So if you want to get MySQL JDBC driver, you can visit dev.mysql.com. Here you can select an operating system, for example, platform independent. After that, you can download required JDBC driver. So I don't want to download MySQL JDBC driver because I have already in my machine. Just what we want to do, we want to include JDBC driver in our project. To add or include JDBC driver, just select libraries. After that, right click on it. Then add jar folder. I want to select JDBC driver from library app icons. Here we have JDBC connector for MySQL. After that, we want to add a custom class to establish connection between Java application and MySQL database. Just here we want to select source packages, and then we want to create new package. For example, connection. The package is created. Inside the package, we want to create a class and select Java class. For example, JDBC connection. Okay, our class is created. Here, in the first step, what we want to do? We want to import the required packages. Import the required packages. For example, import java.sql.connection. Then import java.sql.driverManager. And then import java.sql.sql exception to handle exception. And then import java.sql.statement. To execute statement, we need to include statement. And then import java.sql.result_set. So thereafter, we need to connect to the database. To connect to the database, we have several ways. Here, what we want to do? We want to add some variables like URL, database password, and database username. Simple. Private, static, final, for example, string URL equal. Here we will include the database URL. First, we will include JDBC driver, then MySQL. After that, we will include localhost, then the port number of the database, 3306. After that, we will include database name. The database name is library DB. Okay. Then we need to define another private variable, private static final, for example, string username. The username is root. And then we need to define another variable, private, for example, static final string password. The password is empty. There is no password. So thereafter, we want to establish connection between Java application and MySQL database. We will define a simple method, public static connection. This is the return type. Get database connection. Here we want to define a connection variable. For example, connection con equal. Then we will use DriverManager class. DriverManager.getConnection. There are several overloaded versions. For example, string URL, properties info, string URL, string username, password. We want to select this one. We passed URL, and then we passed username, and then we will pass the password. Okay. Yes, here we got an error. Unreported exception, SQL exception, must be caught or declared to be true. That means this can throws an exception. To handle that exception, we have two ways: using try-catch block or throws keyword. To handle that exception, we will use throws keyword. Just here write throws SQL exception. As you can see, the error is gone. After that, we will define a simple condition. If connection not null. If connection is not null, then we will write a simple statement. For example, system.out.println connected successfully. Okay, finally, we want to return that connection. Simple, return con. That is good. We established connection between Java application and MySQL database. After that, what we want to do? We want to define another method to release the resources, to clean the resources. For that purpose, we will need to define another simple method. Simple, public, static, for example, clean up resources. And here we want to define parameters. For example, connection, con, statement, st, and result, set, rs. Thereafter, we want to close or clean up all the resources one by one in reverse mode. First, we need to clean up the result set. Simple. Here we want to define a simple condition. If rs not null, then what we want to do? We want to close the rs. We will use the close method. This can also generate an exception. Here you can see unreported exception, SQL exception, must be caught or declared to be true. To handle that exception, you can use throws keyword or try-catch block. We will simply use try-catch block. Try, and then we will close the try. Here we catch that exception. And here we will define a simple message. System.out.println, for example, error, closing, result, set, and then SQL.getMessage. Okay. For the statement and connection, we will write the same code. Just we want to copy the same code. And here we want to define a simple comment. For example, statement. And here we want to close statement. And here we want to define statement error. For the connection, also, we will use the same code. Just here we will use connection variable. And here we will use connection string. Okay, the connection is established successfully. Let's write a main method to test the connection. Simple. Here we want to define a main method. Public static void main, for example, string x, and then we will write a code to test the connection. First, we need to define a variable of type connection because the getConnection method return connection object. Simple. Here we want to write connection con equal null. Okay, let's define try-catch block to handle exception. Simple. Try, and then catch SQL exception, SQL exception ex, and here we want to write finally block. Finally, inside that we want to read or call getDatabaseConnection method. Simple. Con equal getDatabaseConnection, and inside catch block we want to write simple message. System.out.println, for example, database connection failed, and then ex.getMessage. In finally block, what we want to do? We want to clean up the resources. To clean up the resources, we want to call cleanup resource method. Simple. Cleanup resource. We have connection object. We don't have result set and statement. Instead of that, we will define null. Okay, here we have still error. Yes. System.out.println. Yes. Here we have small mistake. You want to use instead of comma, plus. Let's run our project. Yes, we got a message, connected successfully. That means we are established connection between Java application and MySQL database successfully. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. See you in the next one.